Hi, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be here today. This presentation is called Caring for Yourself While Caring for Others, and it's meant to be a supportive, grounding conversation rather than a lecture. Many people come into caregiving suddenly, without training, without preparation, and without calling themselves a caregiver at all. My hope today is that this space feels validating, practical, and compassionate. Caregiving can be meaningful, loving, and deeply connecting, but it can also be exhausting, isolating, and overwhelming. Those two truths can exist at the same time, and today we're going to talk honestly about that balance. By the end of today's conversation, my goal is that you'll have a clearer understanding of what caregiver burnout actually is, how it shows up emotionally and physically, and why it matters. We'll also talk about the role of hospice care, not just for the patient, but for caregivers too, and discuss realistic coping strategies. Not the do yoga every day kind, but small, doable steps. Most importantly, I want you to leave knowing when and how to ask for support and hopefully feeling less alone in whatever caregiving role you're in. When people hear the word caregiver, they often imagine someone in a medical setting. But caregiving is much broader than that. A caregiver might be a spouse, a partner, an adult child, a friend, or a chosen family member. It might be someone managing medications, helping with meals, attending appointments, or simply providing emotional support. One of the most important things to say out loud is this: many caregivers do not identify themselves as caregivers. They say, I'm just being a daughter, or I'm just helping out. But caregiving isn't defined by a title, it's defined by responsibility, emotional labor, and consistency. And when we don't name it, we often don't give ourselves permission to need support. The sandwich generation refers to adults who are caring for aging parents or loved ones while also raising children or supporting younger family members. This often happens in people's 30s, 40s, and 50s, but it can occur at any age. Many are balancing work, parenting, caregiving, and their own health all at the same time. What makes this especially challenging is the constant feeling of being pulled in multiple directions. Time strain, emotional guilt, financial pressure, and role overload become a part of daily life. Something to normalize here is this: feeling like you're failing at everything usually means you're actually doing too much, not too little. Caregiver burnout isn't a personal failure, it's a physiological and emotional response to prolonged stress. It often shows up as emotional exhaustion, physical fatigue, and mental overwhelm. It happens when care demands feel constant, support feels limited, and personal needs are consistently placed last. Burnout doesn't mean you don't love the person you're caring for. It means your nervous system hasn't had a chance to recover. Caregivers often tell themselves, I'll rest later, but burnout usually happens when later never comes. Burnout can show up in different ways, and it's not always obvious. Emotionally, caregivers might feel irritable, numb, anxious, or deeply guilty. There can be resentment followed immediately by shame for feeling that resentment. Physically, burnout often shows up as constant fatigue, sleep problems, headaches, or body aches that don't fully go away. And behaviorally, caregivers may withdraw from others, stop doing things they once enjoyed, neglect their own health, or increase their use of substances like caffeine, alcohol, or sleep aids. If any of this sounds familiar, It is not a diagnosis, it's information. Caregiver burnout doesn't just affect caregivers, it impacts the quality of care, relationships, mental health, and even grief outcomes after loss. When caregivers are depleted, they're more likely to experience complicated grief, depression, and long term health issues. One important reframe here is this: caring for yourself is not separate from caring for others, it's part of it. Coping strategies don't need to be perfect or time consuming. Small strategies matter. Taking short breaks, accepting help even when it feels uncomfortable, setting boundaries, and talking honestly about your feelings. Rest without guilt is one of the hardest skills for caregivers to learn, but it's also one of the most protective. Self care doesn't have to look pretty. Sometimes it's sitting in your car in silence or going to bed earlier than planned. Now, I want to spend some time talking specifically about hospice care because there are many misconceptions about what it is and who it's for. Hospice care focuses on comfort, dignity, and quality of life. It supports both the patient and the caregiver, addressing physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. Hospice is not about giving up. It's about choosing comfort over aggressive treatment and prioritizing peace, connection, and meaningful moments. Palliative care, by contrast, can begin at any stage of a serious illness and may still involve life prolonging treatments. Choosing hospice is not a failure, it's a shift in goals. In hospice, caregiving often includes physical care, emotional presence, communication with the hospice team, and supporting other family members. Emotionally, caregivers may experience anticipatory grief, grieving before the loss occurs. This can coexist with love, exhaustion, fear, and moments of deep connection. All of those experiences are normal. Hospice care is not meant to be done alone. Hospice teams may include nurses, social workers, chaplains, and bereavement counselors. They provide education, emotional support, respite care, and grief support. One of the most important messages here is that you don't have to carry everything by yourself. Many people in hospice still want to be asked how they are, what are they feeling, and what matters to them. Avoiding conversations can unintentionally increase isolation. Honest, compassionate presence without trying to fix or say the right thing often brings the most comfort. Sometimes the most powerful words are simply, "I'm here." End-of-life caregiving is uniquely demanding. Self-care at this stage isn't about improvement. It's about sustainability. It's about eating regularly, hydrating, stepping outside, sleeping when possible, and allowing yourself to step away without guilt. Caring for yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. For those in Connecticut, there are several caregiver and hospice resources available to support you, including the Connecticut National Family Caregiver Support Program, Southern Western Connecticut Agency on Aging, CareForth, AARP Connecticut, the Family Caregiver Alliance, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and 211 Connecticut. Reaching out for support is a strength, not a burden.
Hi, everyone. In this
part of the presentation, I'm just going to be showing you the websites that were provided at the end of the presentation. So this first one is Aging and Disability Services for the state of Connecticut. This one basically talks about what the National Family Caregiver Support Program is, and it offers caregivers a much needed break to rest and recharge, both physically and emotionally. They provide funding for a range of services. Some of these services include information and assistance to help connect caregivers to services to ease the burden of caregiving, short-term respite services so that caregivers can get the time and rest they deserve, training opportunities for caregivers to learn the technical skills provided to need care, connecting caregivers to support groups, and purchasing items and services not covered by other sources. Eligibility, adult family members or informal caregivers age 18 or older for someone who is caring for someone ages 60 and older, or caring for someone at any age with Alzheimer's disease or a related disorder, grandparents 55 or older raising children under the age of 18, or grandparents or other relatives age 55 and older who care for an adult with a disability between the ages of 18 and 59. This next one is Southwestern CT Agency on Aging. And so this resource answers a lot of questions that you may have about aging, answers, home care for elders, community options, and grants. They also have a phone number that you can call if you're not really sure where to start. And they have blogs, and a lot that connects you to different resources for adult day centers, food, healthcare, housing, home care, and these are the towns in Connecticut in which they serve. This next one is called CareForth, and CareForth is a service in which they help caregivers and provide caregivers with resources for coaching, emotional support, and payment to help you better care for your loved one. And again, on their website, they have where you're able to, look at resources, common questions, caregiver support. So you're able to call, payment and support for family caregivers. And it allows you to know how you're eligible for paid caregiving. And this next one is just a section on AARP's website for family caregiving. So it gives you tips and support for family caregiving, from providing personal care, medical management, and financial guidance. And they have an AI section where you can ask any questions about caregiving and what that would look like. So, for example, what are some ways to plan ahead for caregiving? And it'll formulate a response for you that can kind of help you navigate how to plan ahead and get yourself organized. Next is the Family Caregiver Alliance. This is a program that, again, provides expert support, resources, and guidance to family caregivers of adults with physical and cognitive impairments. They provide assessments, care planning, and direct care skills to wellness programs, respite services, legal, financial consultation, and more. And they also have a section for caring for your loved one versus caring for yourself, because as we discussed in the presentation, it's important to take care of yourself before you're able to fully take care of another. And they also have events that they put on, frequently asked questions, and caregiver resources section. So all resources, caring for a loved one, caring for yourself, information about different health conditions. Yeah. Lastly, we have the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This is just an extra list of resources for caregivers who are providing care of an aging, seriously ill, or disabled family member or friend. And so for Medicare, they offer this caregiving section that you can check out. And yeah, they also offer healthcare facilities and things like that. So I hope me going through these resources was helpful for everyone. And remember, make sure to take care of yourself before taking care of someone else, and asking for help is never a burden, and important so that you and your loved one can both live healthy and happy lives while caregiving. So thank you.